Hi YouTube, my name is Tori. I am here to talk to you about my VNS implant. I've had it since November 25th of 2013, and I got it turned on December 31st of 2013, my New Year's resolution. Right now my device is at 0.25, and it goes off for every 5 minutes. I've had it turned on for just over 3 days, and I'm still having problems with my voice, as you'll hear from when it goes off, and I'll leave it on until it goes off. I took quite a while for recovery. I've been out of work for 6 weeks. I have yet to go back. I'm waiting for my neurosurgeon to clear me. I see him on the 8th of January. But so far, I'm doing pretty well. I'll show you a couple of my scars that I have, so that you can see what they look like. The first one that I have is this one here, if you can see it. That is done on the left side of my neck. It's to take the wires and attach them to my vagus nerve that's in here. My doctor decided, instead of going up and down, that he was going to do it across into my seam, so that you wouldn't be able to tell that it was there as it faded out. And as you can tell, it's actually pretty good compared to everybody else. I've seen their videos, they're cut at an angle or straight up and down. They still stand out. Now my second one, let's see, right there. It's doing pretty well at healing also. That's where my implant is. I have the one that's about this long across. I decided to get this because of the fact, oh, there it goes. I decided to get this because of the fact that my medication was no longer working for me. As you can tell, my voice gets very low. I'm still a little curious as to why I have this much problems talking, where everybody else doesn't get this bad that I've seen yet. And just like magic, it will click back on, see, and nobody will know the difference. I do find this hazardous because I am a dog trainer, and for it to be going off and make me sound like that for every 5 minutes, for 30 seconds, it's potentially, bad for my job. It doesn't really hurt. It feels like somebody applying pressure to your throat, just pressing on here, so it's not intense. When I first got it turned on, it was like somebody knocked the air out of me. If you were to get into an elevator and it suddenly jerk you up and down, to me that's what it felt like. It knocked the air out of me, and then I was like, "Whoa, what was that?" I have 2 magnets, like everybody says. I have mine right here. This is the one that I wear, and like I took advice from one of the other girls on YouTube. She wears it on her ankle instead of on her wrist, which is a great idea because you can potentially fry your devices with this. I have computers at work I work with, I have tablets, I have cell phones, things like this can potentially destroy them like instantaneously. I can't afford to replace them. When you go to set it off, I may be at 2.5 right now, but when I go to set it off, it is double the, megahertz that it normally is. So when I go to trigger this, which I do once every single day, it turns up to a 0.50, which makes me have that, like, something's in my throat kind of feeling. So it's not too bad, but that's what it feels like. Now, besides the surgery that I've had and my scars here, I did lose feeling under here. I don't have nerve sensation. Other than that, everything else is fine. They glued me shut, which is one of my big things that I wanted to do. I didn't want staples. I've seen a lot of people with staples, and they end up actually looking worse. Now, with them gluing me shut, they glued me shut, and then I had stitches underneath that were dissolvable. I found it 10 times better. I didn't have to look at stitches. People didn't have to look at stitches. It did look dirty because of the glue, and it took a long time to come off, but when it did, nobody noticed that it was extremely there because they wouldn't pay attention to it. I've been okay since having the device. Like I said, once my doctor allows me to go back to work, I will. I'm probably going to have a drawing board or something like that to help me at work, so that my students can understand me when, my device is going off. So, I know a lot of people have questions about it. A lot of people are curious as to things like this. It's the most invasive procedure that you could ever ask for. I've noticed a difference with it. Some people say, well, you don't notice so much so, the decrease in seizures immediately, which I find it, I've had for the first time today. I had one. It wasn't, Grandma, it wasn't any of the bigger ones. It was more of the absence staring to partial seizures, or not partial seizures, tonic seizures. And I was able to actually activate it myself, and I came out of it, which was a lot easier because, I can still move my hands during it, and I was getting that aura. Things were going on. I swiped it, and it stopped. The locking eye contact, the staring, it immediately stopped. So I do notice a difference in it. Now, before I had it turned on, I did have a seizure. It was not a normal one for me at all. It was basically it made it feel like I had the postictal side of it, meaning that the entire time I felt like I had been through a huge seizure and I could not move. I felt sick. I felt out of it. So that was a big difference compared to what I was used to. I think if it probably wouldn't have been there, I might have had a grandma instead. So right now I'm on 3 different medications. I'm on Keppra, Depakote, Lamictal, as well as using my VNS. So these things, all combined are supposed to be helping me, and I'm praying that they're going to do a lot better. I couldn't handle doing the constant absences. I couldn't handle, doing the grand malls. I've hurt myself way too many times already. I want to get back with my life. I've lost my driver's license. I lost that back in August. I'm getting ready to adopt a kid. I cannot afford to not have, a normal life. I can't afford that. I have to be able to go, hey, I can go out and do sports with my kids. I want to be able to do stuff like that. I don't want to have to worry about, I can't go out and do this because of the fact if I have a seizure, nobody's going to be there to respond to it, or I could potentially harm my child in the event of it. I don't know what else to tell you. If you have any other questions in regards of it, other than maybe that, I got my VNS done at Hershey Medical Center with Dr. Acharya, the wife, and my neurosurgeon is Dr. Sather, both of which are great, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. So if that was someplace anybody was ever interested in, those are the best places that I could, consider. If you're within the Maryland, Virginia area and you are capable of driving up to Hershey, Pennsylvania, to see these doctors, that would be the best people in the world to go see for me. I grew up in this area. Hershey, for a long time wasn't my physicians, but after I got home, I came back home, I lived in Texas, Hershey was the best place that I could have gone. They have all the newest technology. I mean, they're working on the newest one already, where the device triggers by itself, and we don't have to trigger it when the seizure goes off, so we wouldn't be feeling this constant, every 5 minutes of it going off, but it would only go off when the seizure would be active. Now, that's another thing. Hold on. That's one thing that I did get asked. My partner, 5 years, was like, well, Tori, why does it go off every 5 minutes? Why? And I had to, when I was sitting there, I was going, okay, the reason why it goes off every 5 minutes is because of the fact that for an epileptic, being in a seizure longer than 5 minutes is potentially harmful. If every 5 minutes it goes off, and say within that 2-minute break of us not having it turned on, we go into a seizure, it's going to stop that seizure in less than 5 minutes. It will be a higher chance of us not having brain damage due to a seizure prolonged over 5 minutes. I can't tell you that how long my grandma's seizures are. I've had ones where nobody was with me. I couldn't even tell you. I didn't even know they were seizures. I was gone. I woke up, went back to bed. Years later, to this day, I can't tell you that, how many I've exactly had. I've known for a fact there's one that I could recall going, oh my God, I did have a seizure, only because of the fact that my injuries from that time are similar to a seizure that I've had recently, which was that I fell face down and convulsed head down on the ground, which I ended up with essentially a rug burn across my forehead, and that was from a known grand mal seizure without timing them. Nobody knew exactly how long it was. But, however, when about 4 or 5 years back, I also had a similar experience, but I was unaware that it was probably a grand mal seizure. I had woken up, gone to the bathroom, came back, and halfway in between, I thought I had fallen asleep, and hit the ground, and woke up. My partner got home, and I had the rug burn, the exact same rug burn as I did, the seizure I had a couple months ago on my forehead, and we had no idea what it was from. But had I had Vivian, I probably wouldn't have prolonged any longer than it should have. And I probably could have been okay by myself. And my fiance my partner, has a horrible time at timing my seizures because half the time she's not around when they start. Or she doesn't wear a watch like everybody else. So when it's on, when my seizures are, going, she can't time it. So she can't say, oh my gosh, she's been seizing for the past 3 minutes. I need to call the ambulance. She generally, most times, just ends up having to call them, which ends up with hospital bills or hospital bills, which, is absurd. But that is the reason, to get to the point, all of this, the reason why the device goes off every 5 minutes is because of the fact that it is potentially dangerous for an epileptic to be into a seizure for longer than 5 minutes. And the fact that the device will go off every 5 minutes will hopefully cut back on the time, or stop the seizure in process. That's why it goes off every 5 minutes. We have the magnet to make it stop before we know it even exists, and when we were having our auras. If you have any other questions, go ahead and ask. I'm not afraid to talk to you about them. You may not hear me half the time. I know it sounds very, very weird. But thank you for listening. Alright, bye.